Hi, Assalamualaikum. Welcome back to topic 2. So for this video, we are going to learn about transactional and also transformational leadership. So for this video, I'll be explaining just for these two types of leadership. The first video for topic 2 that I have showed to you, it is on the three types of leadership, which are number one is the laissez-faire, democratic, and also autocratic. So let's learn about transactional and transformational leadership. So before we go to these two definition of transactional and transformational, let's just recap about definition of leadership. This is one of the latest definition. So if I have highlighted, it is from Jacob Morgan 2020. That is his book on the future leader, published in 2020. He said a leader is someone who can see how things can be improved. So how things can be improved, in other words, it's not about the status quo, but not just for preserving the status quo, but to change to make things better. And who rallies people to move toward the better vision. So not just stuck at the same status quo. And it's also about a leader that is empathic and connect with people to be successful. Okay, so it's not just about a success, but it is also about the team success or subordinate success. So elements of leadership, there are at least three dimensions of elements leadership. Number one is strategic, whereby leaders are the one who set direction and strategy. So setting direction is important in order to ensure that you know what is the main objective, where are you going to head, or you bring the whole team to go ahead, where to go. And then all your team member need to understand the direction and also the objective that you want everybody to achieve. And the most important also is the strategy, whereby the right strategy will make things better and also will make things more effective to achieve the target. Tactical is how leaders along the way, when you are trying to achieve the objective, there are a lot of issues, and the most important, how the leader resolve the issue, and also how leaders oversees activity and do some monitoring so that the direction will be on track, and also the strategies are in the right strategies. And of course, the third dimension is stabilizing, whereby not just oversee and resolve issues or set direction and strategy, leaders also need to provide supports in terms of motivation, in terms of the in terms of skills that needed by the subordinate, or in terms of facilities that needed by subordinate. So these are the main three elements of leadership. So as I mentioned before in the previous video, style of leadership is there are many styles. There are at least 6 to 10 styles, but for our subject, we learn 5 styles. Okay, democratic, autocratic, laissez-faire, transactional, and transformational. And the reason why we have this varying leadership style is because number one, the leader's personal background. What personality, knowledge, values, ethics does the leader have? And number two, their own preferred style. What is the style that they want, they prefer, and usually it depends on their previous experience too. And of course, the skill and the experience of the subordinate is not just the leader. If the subordinate is inexperienced and also lack of skills, so maybe the leader needs to choose autocratic style. But with a high skill and also highly with a long experience, then maybe it's a different style. And of course, an organization also play an important role whereby the tradition, the values, the philosophy, and the concern of the organization also have an influence, a direct influence towards the leadership style. So, as I mentioned before, these are the top 6 leadership styles. So, democratic leadership, as we have learned, autocratic leadership, and laissez-faire. So, number 4, we have not learned, but of course, it's a combination of few styles that become a strategic leadership style. The one that we are going to focus is on transformational leadership style, whereby this transformational leadership style it's more on inspiring people and also in order to get better reality and better result. Then we have number 6 here is transactional leadership style, whereby it is more on managing and just trying to maintain the status quo and usually focus on the short-term tasks. So these are some of transactional leadership traits. It is extrinsic motivation. In other words, it's the motivation is from reward or even if they did something wrong, they feel fearful because it might have a certain kind of punishment. So it is an extrinsic motivation, not intrinsic within the subordinate. Number 2 is practical. So it is easier to be a transactional, whereby the workers know what they need to do, and the leader will get the result. Resistant to change. This style of transactional leadership, just like autocratic leadership style, they do not want to have any changes. Discourage independent thinking because they believe this type of leader believe that what they have decided is the right way. So whether you do it, then you will get the reward, or if you refuse to do it, you will get punishment, right? Reward performance. So there are a lot of rewards. Constrained thinking. Yes, just like discourage independent thinking. So when you have something outside of the box, or subordinate have something outside of the box, new proposal usually is unwelcome. Usually it's very passive, so you just have to follow the steps and the protocol and the SOP as it is, okay, and no changes can be made. Emphasis on corporate sector. So in other words, we have this red tape whereby the senior manager report will be will give orders to managers. Managers will give order to senior executive, and senior executive will give orders to executive, and so forth. So it's a highly hierarchical kind of organization, and usually there are a lot of red tapes also. It is based on directive. So from time to time, like nearly every time there are directive, and always emphasis on self-interest. Okay, so the leader has a very strong self-interest when he or she wants to target this much. So the subordinate must just follow that particular target. So although it might sound something that is not really right, but this is usually what most managers will adopt transactional leadership style. Okay, the pros here is performance is rewarded. So it's a very direct correlation. When you do the good job, then you will get rewarded. Number 2, in terms of productivity, because it's very clear. Yeah, the standard procedure, the instructions are clear, so it is easier for you to achieve the goal, and it is based on instruction and order. So it's simple and easy to follow. The cons is limited in creativity because it's very restricted and rigid system. And there will be punishment such as lack of bonus, demotion, blame, negative criticism if you are not following the orders of the transactional leader. And also because it's extrinsic motivation, whereby the motivation comes from outside. So within the human being, motivation is not being nourished, and there might be a motivation problem. Compared to transformational leaderships, the elements are these. It's a nearly totally different than transactional leadership, whereby transformational leadership welcomes new idea, idealized influence. The influence based on new ideas and ideal, inspirational motivation, whereby they motivate people, intellectual stimulation. You can ask questions, you can give a new suggestions and creativity and innovation. Individualized consideration, whereby the leader will look at the person's talent and will motivate based on the talent. Okay, so if you can see here, let's just focus on the transformational leadership. The pros here, there are a lot of room for growth compared to just now, compared to the transactional, whereby you cannot, you must follow it. There's no growth needed. Okay, so creativity is highly encouraged, but not in transactional. Individual needs are provided for. Issues are fixed before they become problem, and less pressure to meet deadline. So this is a little bit different than the transactional leader. However, the con is there's a potential for burnout, because transformational leaders usually do not know how high they want to achieve, because they want to push the subordinate to go as high as possible. So there might be a burnout. There are fewer checks and balance. So because transformational leadership are not like transactional, they do not do detailed micromanagement like transactional leadership. Yeah, lack of focus can become a problem, because transformational, there are so many ideas involved, so many motivations involved, but sometimes because it's too much and it's a lack of focus, so that's not really a good thing about transformational leaders. So if you can see here, let's just go to the transformational versus transactional here, whereby transformational leaders are more inspiring, empowering, and coaching followers. So it is more about power within you, whereby you get motivated, you get inspired, you are empowered, and so forth. You have better skills and so forth. Compared to transactional leadership, is all about if you do well, you will receive rewards and benefit. Yeah. Appeals focus on organizational and good and common good interests. So it's not just the leader's interest, but also for everybody's interest. But for transactional leader, is only 100% for he or her interest only. Yeah. So you achieve target, he will get the fame, she will get the fame, and you will get reward. So good enough. Yeah. So a type of plan change, a major organizational change, so whereby with transformational leadership, you can change to be a better organization. For example, like there are few companies unable to transform their company and being now is obsolete company. For example, like Kodak company used to be a renowned camera photography company, but now is obsolete company. Why? Because they do not have transformational leaders. Compared to so if you have transformational leaders, then you can make major changes. Like when we have Kodak is a film. It's a film camera. I'm not sure whether you know about this or not, but now it's a digital camera. But because the leaders are not transformational enough, they unable to capture the drastic changes. So because of that, the company become obsolete. Okay, it's not acceptable nowadays anymore. Okay, so because now we are using digitalized camera, we do not use film anymore. Okay, so when we have transformational leaders, it can save company from become obsolete. Okay, transformational leaders will know how to go with the flow with the new changes and able to accept the changes compared to the transactional leadership. because they are more on routine changes, just a little bit SOP tukar sikit here and there. That's it, right? But of course, from my opinion, we need both. Okay, transactional in certain situation and transformational because we do not want an organization to be left behind. So, in your opinion, what is the best leadership style? Again, you do not have to choose only one, but you can always synthesize all these five elements according to the who are your subordinates, all right, and also what kind of situation and what kind of objective that you want to achieve together as a team. So that's all for this topic, transactional and transformational. Thank you.